Gauteng Premier David Makhura has condemned the violence and lawlessness that played out in Tembisa yesterday. 4 people have been killed in those protests over a number of issues, including electricity tariffs, municipal rates, and general service delivery. Now, the City of Ekurhuleni says that they will work on an integrated initiative to address the issues raised by the community. The Premier's spokesperson, Vuyo Mhaga, joins us this morning for more on this story. Vuyo, thanks very much indeed for coming on. Can you this morning give us a sense of what's unfolding in Tembisa the day after those violent protests yesterday? Do you have that intel?
Well, I think first and foremost we must send our condolences to the families of those who had unfortunately passed away. We've been trying to keep in touch with our colleagues in Ekurhuleni to understand what's happening. Our understanding that there was a brief of a meeting. We're going to get that information even now, this morning from our rapid response team that is based in Ekurhuleni, just to give us basically up to breast on what's happening in that part of Gauteng.
The reason, or at least the sort of spark that led to that Tembisa shutdown, apparently coming from the Ekurhuleni mayor, Tanya Campbell, not meeting with residents last Friday as promised. Instead, she sent 5 MMCs. The promise now is that she will meet with residents this Friday. It's a long way to go until Friday, Vuyo.
Well, we'll really appreciate if the mayor can really take a proper, leadership and initiative and go to the community and speak to them. And if really she will have went there on Friday, I suppose this kind of protest we're not going to see, where we see, lives being lost as well, property being damaged, because we have always said, let's send properties and services to the people, and it was closer for the people to really able to work around there. So people, instead of really carrying on with their lives, they are forced to go to the streets because the mayor really did not go there. We hope that she will revise the time because today is Tuesday. We cannot really have this situation waiting up until Friday. We need proper leadership, that she must really go to Tembisa and really meet with the residents and explain to them, and both themselves and the community leaders must have a very clear way forward around this issue, because we will hate to see another life being lost, or property or damage that is being damaged. A lot of people who are supposed to be going to work today won't be able to go to work, and that's really in a very economic depressed times. We really need everyone to work together and provide the necessary leadership. So we really implore the mayor to really go to Tembisa as soon as possible.
Yeah. Various issues coming out of the protest action in Tembisa, Vuyo. Issues of basic services not being delivered, residents talking about electricity cuts regularly, sewage running in the streets, the high cost of living. The protest takes place in the province that is home to what is meant to be the economic hub of South Africa. What is the Premier's role insofar as the kinds of issues, and it's not just happening in Tembisa, right? These are issues plaguing numerous parts of Gauteng. What's the Premier's response there in terms of service delivery challenges?
Well, we are trying to really speak to different municipalities, in particular to make sure that they are able to take charge of their own spaces. I mean, if you go to Tembisa, Tembisa has been one of those shining townships in Gauteng that they've been able to pay services and rates. And of course, with the numerous and massive increase of tariffs, where people, in particular these economic conditions, it becomes very, very depressing for ordinary people to really afford, as they've been struggling to afford their lives. That's why the office of the Premier yesterday, we were trying to speak with the executive mayor to make sure that we are able to engage with them and send, speak to the police, try to make sure that lives are saved and more property is basically protected, and to make sure that the leadership of Ekurhuleni, because really, in all honesty, that is a purview of the municipality, to make sure, in particular in the areas of water and electricity, they're able to really provide those particular services. Our job is obviously to support them, and we'll continue to do that, to support them, and we'll actually, if needs be, to engage with those particular communities. That's something that we need to do, but we obviously don't want to overreach, our responsibility in our area of operation.
Speaking of overreaching your area of operation, what role would the Premier then play insofar as the violence that erupted on the one hand on the part of protesters, but how police responded? I mean, there were several allegations yesterday of rubber bullets being fired towards protesters. There were some reports of live ammunition as well. This discussion around our response to protests in a country that is as gripped by protests as we are. 2,000 protests happen in South Africa every single year, but our police still don't know how to properly implement public order policing. The issue of water cannons in the province, we're told we have one water cannon available insofar as public order policing is concerned, Vuyo.
Well, the issue of course, you know that the issue of the police will rest with the national government in terms of the resources that they do have and where do they deploy. They will be best placed. Of course, in our space is to make sure that, because we've got a relationship with the police that is operating within Gauteng, we work with them on a weekly basis. And our job was to make sure that we speak to the police to make sure that they become an additional resource to make sure that no more people are actually dead. Those people who are dead, of course, the IP must come in and understand if the live ammunition was used. It will be extremely, extremely unfortunate and regrettable that people died because of live ammunition. You can't use a live ammunition. When people are genuinely protesting on issues that all of us know that they are genuine, as I've said, you've got a Tembisa, that has been a township that has really been playing ball, paying services. I mean, if you listen to the leadership of Ekurhuleni there, and they will tell you that Tembisa is one township that has been able to pay rates and services. So you've got people who are genuinely concerned, not people who want to create an unnecessary havoc. The only response that you give them is through, hard force, instead of really go and have a conversation with them and agree what then do we do going forward.
So I mean, on your version of events, residents have been playing ball insofar as the payment of services is concerned, but the local government haven't. Well,
I'm saying if you're going to increase tariffs at an exorbitant amount without really considering the current economic situations, not only people of Tembisa, all of us in South Africa are facing. The economy is not growing, jobs are not actually getting more scarce here, and you are then saying to people, actually pay more. And that more is not a gradual increase, it's a very sharp increase. Surely you are actually, requesting the situation to happen. And we are saying there must be a conversation between the community leaders together with the leadership of Ekurhuleni and agree on what basically do we need to, to do to go forward. Importantly, we need to make sure that all of us work together to provide the necessary jobs so that people are able to pay, those bundle services. But you can't shock the system. And actually with sharp, tariff increase. And you are causing for disaster. And when they say, let's have a conversation, you just simply don't pitch up. And then you actually kick the ball to another week. I'm not sure what we are expecting to be happening between today as well as Friday.
Yeah. So is the office of the Gauteng Premier reaching out to the Ekurhuleni Mayor, Tanya Campbell, to say, please expedite that meeting?
We'll try to make sure that we try to speak to some of the officials. As I've said, we've tried to do that yesterday to make sure that we've got a bit of a beef up. We'll try to make sure that if that meeting can be earlier, it will be much more appreciated. But as I've said, those are the discussions that we'll have. It is still remain the purview of Ekurhuleni, how they are actually managing it. They are operating within Gauteng. Of course, we are worried about what is basically happening there. So if the situation and it's possible that the two parties can meet as early as possible, it will be best for us so that we are able to move on with our lives and try to really rebuild this province.
And try to get down to the actual issues that residents are raising. Spokesperson in the office of the Gauteng Premier, Vuyo Mhaga, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning.